Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you may be. We're very glad that you could join us today for another MSCC All Hands meeting. We did not have one last month due to a very busy start of the semester for many of our community, many in our community. So we're really glad that we can pick back up the pace and very happy that you could join us today. Please be advised that we are recording this meeting and just want to make sure that everybody knows. And what we do as our general practice is we'll be posting a recording of the meeting today. So let's get started. I'm Anna Hansinger, and I am here as both the principal investigator for the MSCC and a fan and advocate and committed member of the MSCC community. Next slide, please. We have a great program planned for everybody today. This is our agenda today. I'm just going to do a very quick mentioning of some really exciting things that are coming up for our community. And then we're going to go to one of our featured speakers who are going to take us through a really interesting program and set of opportunities that are taking place that we felt might be of interest for our community. Then the staff is going to take it from there and share with you some really exciting announcements about a number of programmatic activities that are taking place. And that's the plan for today. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you. I want to recognize, first of all, the campuses that have graciously been working with us to host two upcoming workshops, cyber infrastructure workshops that continue to illustrate for our community the things that are possible through the use of cyber infrastructure in support of research and education. Really happy that next week we're going to be hosted by the great campus at Coppin State University. Really thankful for all the work that has taken place with the Chief Information Officer there and the staff and others to have a great program, a great workshop that is going to happen next week. We reached capacity for this workshop, so the registration is closed. Nonetheless, you can still visit the website and learn a bit more. I hope many of you registered and can be there at the meeting. Also in our lineup, we have another workshop that's going to take place at Tuskegee University in mid-October. So if you are in the region and would like to participate, I encourage you to register as soon as possible, and you can follow the QRB code that's here. And just really excited about these opportunities to be present with our community at campuses. We are in the process of also working with other campuses as we think about future workshops for the rest of the fiscal year. So when we can, we'll be in a position to share dates and other things with the community. And as we normally do, all the materials from the workshops as well as the agendas are very visible in our website as well. Next slide. Thank you. Or actually, I'm going to now hand it off to Ms. Jessica Johnson, our great CI facilitator, that's going to do the honors and take us now for the rest of the program through the program for today. So Jessica, go ahead.
Thank you, Anna. So today I have the pleasure of introducing our wonderful speakers who will be speaking with us on their topic, Facilitating Access to Universal Service Administrative Co., Rural Healthcare Connect, funding through the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences, E-Link Consortium. One of our first speaker is Martin Mays. Martin was born and raised in Dayton, Ohio, and made Little Rock, Arkansas his home in 1990. He and his wife of 16 years, Tara Lynn, share an amazingly blended family of 5 children and 3 grandchildren. For more than 30 years, Martin has been a dedicated employee of the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences. He currently serves as Senior Program Manager with UAMS eLink, where he and his colleague, Michael, have helped 2 and 4 year colleges and universities save money through the USACRHC program since 2014. Through the UAMS Institute of Digital Health and Innovation, Martin and his teammates also continue to support healthcare facilities across Arkansas with their telemedicine needs. As a colleague once summed it up, we do stuff. We are also joined by Michael Wallace. Michael Wallace serves as the Assistant Director with the University of Arkansas for Medical Science eLink program. In this role, he oversees financial management and compliance for the FCC Rural Healthcare Connect Fund, leads vendor relationship management, and supports the development of eLink's team, broadband telemedicine initiatives, and grant programs. His primary responsibilities focus on growing and managing the RHCF portfolio, aligning vendor partnerships and member needs with funding opportunities, and driving innovation to ensure long-term sustainability of eLink's telemedicine network. Michael's career spans banking, technology services, electronic medical record systems, and accounting, providing him with a broad base of expertise that strengthens his leadership at UAMS. His work bridges financial stewardship with healthcare technology innovation, advancing telehealth access for rural and underserved communities. So with that in mind, I will pass it to our 2 wonderful speakers to take it away.
Jessica, thank you for that introduction, Anna, and we appreciate this opportunity. Just to let you know, Michael and I are both gray and bald, so Martin is the one with the glasses, just in case you get us mixed up. So, but as I said, in interest of time, we wanted to have an opportunity to share with you what eLink is and what we have and what we can offer possibly some of your institutions. Okay, next slide, please. And again, just to give you a brief background on eLink, you can go to the next slide as well. Or UAMS rather. UAMS actually is, we're full service Trauma One hospital in the state of Arkansas. We also are a teaching hospital. We have the colleges of College of Medicine, College of Nursing, Allied Health, those types of educational entities. And specifically UAMS eLink, we're one of the largest telemedicine networks in the nation. We do all things telemedicine, and we've been doing that for over 30 years now. And of course, COVID hit, the entire world started utilizing telemedicine naturally so. But we've been able to advance and improve on our telemedicine network. We have points of presence in all of our hospitals in the state of Arkansas. We have 75 counties. We provide 24/7 video audio support to those hospitals for their connectivity. We provide telemedicine equipment, also provide those telemedicine programs, health programs, stroke, high risk OB, trauma, those types of programs. And for this point of interest, we're also one of the largest consortia in the country for the USAC Rural Healthcare Connect program. So next slide, please. And just to give you a brief on what the Rural Healthcare Connect program is, you can next slide that if you will. What the Rural Healthcare Program does, it offers eligible entities a 65% reimbursement on eligible connectivity costs, as well as other broadband related materials, being equipment or security products, things like that. Entities can apply for this either individually or as a part of a consortium. If you're an individual that's applying for this funding opportunity, because it's not a grant, it's a reimbursement program. If you apply for this funding opportunity individually, you must be a rural entity. You have to fit into the entity type requirements. You have to be a public or not-for-profit entity. Most of the higher eds, which I'm assuming, which is the largest part of this community group, are higher eds, 2 or 4 year colleges. So we look at a lot of those in urban areas for the most part. If you are in an urban area and you are check the boxes on the other qualifying parts, being a not-for-profit or public entity, you're a post-secondary educational institution, you can take part in the program through a majority rule consortium, which is the UAMS eLink Consortium. This is how we're able to offer this opportunity to otherwise qualified urban locations. Our heavy lifting in this process is to maintain our rurality. We have to maintain an over 51% rurality mix of our member population. So at current, we're about 57% rural. So we can offer this program to otherwise qualified urban locations. Next slide, if you will. And if you look at this slide, it gives you the eligible entity types for this funding mechanism. And hence the name rural healthcare. It is specifically geared toward healthcare facilities in rural areas. But again, if you're in that urban population, by being in a majority rural consortium, you can take part in this program. But if you look at that first qualifying entity type, a post-secondary educational institution that offers an accredited health education program. So College of Nursing, College of Medicine, Allied Health, those types of programs, if it is accredited either nationally or through a state organization, and we can provide that documentation to the USAC team, there's a possibility that we can get you eligible to participate in this particular program. Next slide. The types of things that you can get reimbursed through this program, of course, that broadband connectivity, as I said, internet access, data transmission. But what's also eligible for this program are equipments that help maintain or make that connectivity run properly. Routers, switches, boxes, those types of things. Also, security packages as well, softwares and firewalls, things of that nature. And also those warranties and maintenance agreements, smart nets, those types of things on those equipments. Those things are potential, and I use the term potential all the time because until money is in your account, it's always a potential opportunity. But all those things are potential opportunities that you can get reimbursed by this USAC Rural Healthcare Program. Next slide, please. And forgive me if I'm going fast, but I'm trying in the interest of time. And if there's questions, please put those in chat. But why come through a consortia? You know, we say you can apply individually, but again, that first dominant benefit of being a part of a consortia is that rurality. If you're not classified as a rural location, but you otherwise qualify, if you're in an urban location, you can't participate through a consortia. But what's also beneficial by being a part of a consortia, in particularly the UAMS eLink Consortium, a lot of these third parties in the country provide this type of service to eligible entity types. But they make you do all the work on your end. You have to submit all your documentations. You have to almost be an expert in the program to be a part of a third party because they're actually just the conduit for you to be able to submit your documents or to submit these funding requests to the USAC Rural Healthcare Program. UAMS eLink is different in that we do all the work for you. We do all the submissions for you of the documents. We prepare all the funding requests, disbursement requests at the appropriate time. If there's an audit that ensues, we lead that audit for you. We work with you and your service provider to get all the necessary information related to the request, to the funding disbursements, and to any audits that ensue. And if you look at it financially, a lot of third parties that perform this service, they charge you a fee up to 30 or 40% of what would be considered your cost savings. We charge a fee as well. If you go to that next slide, our fee is only 10% of what your cost savings amount is. And we'll kind of talk about that briefly. What that 10% covers, it covers us doing pretty much everything for you. We do all your submissions. We engage, we consult you on what your benefit possibilities are. We work with your service provider to extract all eligible costs that they provide for you that could be potentially eligible as a reimbursement for this program. Just to give you a straight dollar example, and this will make a little bit more sense for you on the next slide or two. If your services and fees for a particular fiscal year is $100,000 and you're able to get 65% of that back as a reimbursement, which would be $65,000, UMS eLink will charge you 10% of that cost as a fee. And again, that's a fee just to help sustain our program, to pay Michael and myself, to keep us gainfully employed, to be able to help you get these tremendous benefits. Next slide, please. Now a little bit more on what the USAC program is and how you get involved with that. What we do is we engage with you as a member individually to get you deemed eligible for this program. And again, those eligibility requirements as a post-secondary educational institution, you have to have an accredited health education program offered on your campus. Or it can be an online program if it's accredited. It can be housed at a satellite campus. Any of those requirements can be met if you can provide us that accreditation document. We would also ask you to provide us a document that details that your entity is a public or a not-for-profit entity with your state. We would have you submit a document to us called a Form 460, which is actually a process within this USAC Rural Healthcare Program. So we would submit that document on your behalf, and this document would get you deemed eligible to participate. How do you get reimbursed? You have to be an eligible entity. You have to have eligible broadband connectivity, and you have to have an eligible service provider. So again, we would work with your service provider to extract any costs that they invoice you for a particular fiscal year and extract those costs that are potentially USAC eligible. For a lot of the higher ed population, our first level of engagement with a service provider is generally your state research and education network. In our particular state, Arkansas, our state network is called RRON. RRON provides connectivity to the higher eds in our state. So we work with those higher eds, and we work with RRON as their service provider to extract the costs that they provide, which can include that actual broadband connectivity. It can include a membership fee associated, and all those costs that are USAC eligible. And we prepare what's called a funding request on your behalf. You will be listed as a line item on that service provider's funding request, because we would do it as a service provider specific. So if within your state, if we're utilizing your research and education network as a service provider, it would be all the members that are participating under that service provider, that research and education network's membership population that is participating in this program. If you have, say, an AT&T or a Verizon circuit that provides connectivity to your health ed program, we would work with AT&T, which would possibly be specific to your organization only if we prepare a funding request. And again, the process would be the same. We would extract the costs that are eligible for this USAC program. The equipment piece is a little trickier. Same method applies. We would work with the vendor that you would be purchasing from. Equipment is a little more time. It's a little more effective if you time it properly, because you have to first have a USAC funded connectivity, broadband connectivity, in order for any equipment or security packages associated to be potentially eligible for that reimbursement. So the first step would be that connectivity getting funded by USAC. After that connectivity is funded, you have an opportunity to make equipment purchases associated directly with that connectivity and get a 65% reimbursement on those costs. Next slide to that, please. How the mechanism works once we get you deemed eligible, which generally is a 45-day, 60-day window to get you deemed eligible. You submit those documents to us. You also submit what's called a letter of agency, which we provide all those documents to you. That letter of agency, it acts as the document that includes you in our consortia. And then by being a member of our consortium, those representatives of the consortium have the ability to submit these documents on your behalf. Documents for support have to be submitted through what's called a filing window. Filing windows for USAC Rural Healthcare Program run pretty much generally from December 1 of a particular year through April 1st of the following year. This slide says March 31st, but it's generally April 1st of the following year. If you do an equipment funding request, of course, with all those requirements have been facilitated, if we submit an equipment funding request for you, you wouldn't be able to purchase those equipments until that actual fiscal year starts. So just take this particular, can you provide more examples of how post-secondary? Let's take this particular filing one that will be coming up December 1, 2025. We will be submitting for any of your eligible services and fees beginning July 1 of 26 fiscal year. Fiscal year for USAC runs from July through June. And so we would ask for that request in December time window. July 1 comes, we would get an approval of that request for support. After the services have been rendered, which would be the end of the fiscal, June 30th of that following year, that next day would be the first available day that we can request a disbursement of those funds if they were approved. If we request the disbursement of those funds, excuse me, and again, this is a reimbursement program. The things that we would have to show USAC to get that disbursement is to show that the service provider did actually, in fact, provide that service to you, that you did, in fact, pay for that service. Then we have the opportunity to submit that disbursement request on your behalf. If and when all that happens, and again, this is all high level, if and when all that happens, USAC would disperse those funds to your service provider. The service provider would then return those funds, that 65% to you appropriately, either with a check, an ACH payment, or they have an opportunity to apply that 65% to your next year's services and fees. Okay, next slide, please, if you don't mind. And as I said, we would submit any and all of these requests during that filing window, and it would be related to the upcoming fiscal year. So it's us asking for the support in advance of the services being rendered. And then on the back end, once services have been rendered and paid for, then we ask for that disbursement of that 65% reimbursement. Next slide, please. And this will actually be the last slide that we show, but we can definitely talk about what's been said. And I saw a question come through chat already, but this is one of some of our success stories as it relates to just the higher ed population. Okay, we deal, as I said, primarily with that research and education network in your particular state as your main service provider. And so we've been doing this for higher eds in particularly since about 2014. And of course, all of our higher eds that are eligible for this program in the state of Arkansas, because we are in the great state of Arkansas, we do submit all of the higher eds in Arkansas for this 65% reimbursement. The number that you see here, the first number from 2014 to 2025, this includes all of the higher eds and research education networks that we've dealt with to date. So we've been performing this service for higher eds in, of course, Arkansas and Kansas, in Louisiana, in Oklahoma, in Connecticut, in Michigan, Florida. We're currently working with a group called SOX right now, which is a multi-state service provider. We're working with Idaho. So we have a great mix of states many of which are a part of this organization as well, because we've performed this service as well currently for about 8 or 9 of your current MSCC members that are on your membership population. And of course, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff in our state of Arkansas, as well as Philander Smith, which is in Little Rock, Arkansas, we've performed this service for as well. And Philander Smith just recently came on because they just recently became eligible. But we've been performing this for UAPB for at least 10 years now, I would say. So we've been able to successfully get UAPB that 65% reimbursement. But in total, over all those states that I've mentioned to you, which can comprised of about 190, 195 individual colleges, we've been able to submit upwards in $114 million of support requests. And if you see that bottom number, what we've been able to successfully get back into those higher ed budgets is over $53 million over the past 10 years. Now, if you look at that $53 million number, that number does not include the 2024 disbursement requests. Those requests are still being reviewed by USAC at this time. So it's only going to make that number a bit higher. And of course, we haven't requested the 2025 disbursement yet because we're not at the time for those. So again, this program can work as an annuity for you, as a cost avoidance for you, if you allow your service provider to apply that to your next year's services as a credit. If they provide that to your next year's services as a credit, we still have the opportunity in the following year to present the entire balance of your potential invoice for support, and not just that out-of-pocket balance. So in that $100,000 example, we wouldn't be submitting $35,000 for you in that next year. We would still be submitting that $100,000 for you in that next year. The largest intent of this particular program, you can use that 65% back into your organization how you see fit. You can increase your bandwidth if that's helpful. You can increase security packages, get redundant connections to your campus if needed with that 65%. And if you get other connections to your campus with that 65%, there's a possibility that those connections can get a 65% reimbursement for you. So it's a tried and tested program. It's again, it's not a grant, but it is a funding mechanism for you in your campus. It's a reimbursement program for you. And we've been very successful with higher eds in the state. And we like to offer this to any of the membership population that's listening now. If you go to that next slide for me, please, Jessica, or whomever's controlling that, please. You can reach out to myself or my I like to call him a colleague. He's technically my supervisor. He doesn't like that term, but because that puts a sense of ownership on him. But he's my colleague, and me and Michael, we tag team this and have been for about the last 7, 8 years. Michael, of course, has been doing this since 2012, 2013, since the inception of this USAC Rural Healthcare Program. And I'll let him speak here in just a second. But we go out to a lot of organizations such as yourself. We've been successful in presenting at the Quilt. I'm pretty sure many of you are familiar with the Quilt as an organization. We've presented there a few years ago. We attend Shelby Conference, if any of you are familiar with Shelby as an organization. And we make those engagements with members individually, with service providers to say, hey, we can provide this to your member population. So again, it's a tried and tested program. Someone said before I answer a question, I'll let Michael make a statement on some potentials. Go ahead, Wallace, on some potentials of eligible equipments and things like that, security packages, things like that.
Well, the question that I saw in the chat was how, some examples of how secondary health programs, Martin, and we work with these research education networks heavily, and I put a map in the chat of the Quilt, all of the research education networks, Internet 2, that sort of thing. Initially, like Martin said, you have to have the connectivity in place to justify equipment. One of the examples for a large university that we did, they refreshed a primary and secondary data center with Cisco equipment, switches, and that project included, oh, I don't remember the number of switches. I should know that. It included the switches, it included the iOS, the licensing, the Cisco SmartNet, and the professional installation of this. And it was over a year's project. It was a $6 million project. So the university got back through this reimbursement program $3.93 million. If you use, and I'll give you another example, for the telemedicine programs that we deliver, and we deliver things like stroke, trauma, high-risk neonatal into these ERs in Arkansas across our network. And that network is part of RRON, the State Research Education Network. So we leverage part of their backbone. We've done this since 2011, 2012, and been pretty successful. But that's a good example. We also use Meraki equipment for these telemedicine carts, and those are eligible products as an example. So I hope that helps. And before I hand this back over to Martin, there's two things I'd like to throw out for y'all to consider or ask. One is whether or not you're currently working within your state in partnership for the Rural Health Transformation Program. That's a $50 billion program. The state applications are due in November, and it will allocate some of the Medicaid funding back to the states. Particularly, one of the things for y'all to know about is the cybersecurity offerings that this rural health transformation funding will support. So it's an opportunity for y'all to partner with your state office, governor, Medicaid office, something like that. The other one is there's an executive order out, came out first part of July, and it is specifically related to cybersecurity. There is no funding associated yet with that executive order, but it's going to mandate changes to the federal agencies for cybersecurity, and that will flow downward through, say, the Department of Ed or Human Health and Human Services. So eventually, if you have a allied health, a med school in your organization, something to that effect, you'll see those benefits. So that's my little piece. Thanks.
Thank you, Michael. And lastly, before I pass it back on to the MSCC group, as I said, this is a program that we can help you with. We would need to have a conversation with you individually if you're interested, to kind of just gather information, do some discovery on the type of circuits you have, your service provider, how was that service provider procured, those types of things, to get some of that individual information from you. And again, please feel free to reach out to some of your cohorts that are members of this group. UAPB, Philander Smith, Grambling, we've been successful with as well, Florida and A&M. So Southern University is a first timer that should be getting a reimbursement as well. So some of those are your cohorts in this group. We perform this service for higher ed, but we also perform it for health care facilities as well. How it's relevant to this particular cybersecurity group, as Michael said, and forgive the noise, there's a lot of traffic. You can help advance or improve on your cybersecurity products that you have on campus with this reimbursement. You can, as I said, you can increase your bandwidth with this reimbursement. There's several things that you can do with this 65% as it comes back to you. And again, one of the biggest things, it can act as a cost avoidance for you for just your actual services and fees with your service provider. So again, it's tried and tested. And if and when you have any interests or questions, please reach out to us by email. We can always schedule a one-on-one meeting with you. We can kind of communicate through email, things of that nature to get information from you and see how we can move forward in the next steps in helping you get this 65% to your campus. Ladies.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Martin and Michael, for that really great information for our community. We do have a few minutes to open the floor for questions. I know that there was already a question in the chat as far as examples that was answered, but wanted to give anyone else the opportunity to ask any questions for Martin and Michael. Feel free to come off mute, or if you prefer, you can also ask your question in the chat. And I'll help out by asking a question that I had when looking at y'all's presentation, to give anyone else a few moments to just think of a question if they may have one. So my question is, how long is the review process for disbursement? I know you all mentioned that you all are still waiting for 2024, but how long do you typically have that review process?
That's a good question, Jessica. Well, let me give you this time frame. As I said, to get an organization deemed eligible, that's about 45, 60 days. Used to be less than that, but USAC changed their portal and their process. So about 45, 60 days. To get a funding request approved, between 5 and 7 months from the end of the close of that filing window, give or take. Now, these are all rough averages. And to get that disbursement approved, we generally get that approved if all documents are in order, 45, 60 days. And generally what happens if we submit any of these documents, the eligibility, the funding request, the disbursement request, the USAC reviewer looks at the documents that we provided, and they have an opportunity to give us what's called a request for information. So that could extend the time out depending on how fast we respond, if we give them exactly what they asked for, and they could ask for additional information. So the disbursement request, I say on a good day, between 45 and 60 days from the date that it was actually submitted.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. And I will say this, once you're deemed eligible to participate in this program, you're eligible for the duration, unless one of your eligibility requirements change. So if your health ed program accreditation expires, if an organization purchases your entity, or you physically move to a different address, those types of things, we would have to resubmit you. But all things consistent, you're deemed eligible one time and you're eligible for the duration. The funding mechanism side of it, the funding request and those disbursements, those things happen annually. So we do that each year, unless you throw your hand up and say, hey, we don't want the 65% back anymore. We won't submit you for that funding request. We haven't had anyone do that at this time, but that is an option for you.
Okay. Understood. Thank you. Well, I guess I'll give it a few more beats if anyone else in the audience has questions. But if not, we thank you, Martin and Michael, for taking the time to speak to our community today. We really appreciate all the wonderful information, and I'm sure someone in our community will reach out for further questions via email. So thank you both so much for your time today.
Yes, ma'am.
So much for having us.
Thank you.
Enjoy your day.
You too. Awesome. So with that, I will pass it over to Al Anderson, our Director of Cyber Infrastructure Programs.
Hello, everyone. You hear me okay? Sound good? All right. I just wanted to touch on, you've probably been seeing the announcements that we put out there that our Research Catalyst projects have been selected. We have 5 institutions where their proposals made it through the NSF review. It's Benedict College, Hampton University, Howard University, Meharry Medical College, and North Carolina A&T State University. We want to congratulate these schools. If you go to the MSCC website and go under the community resources and then go to Research Catalyst, and then there's a button there, and you can go in and actually review the project abstracts and the profiles of the PIs in those programs. We had our first PI meeting earlier this week. we have a follow-up meeting with some folks that couldn't make that meeting. That went pretty well. These are, sub awards under the current NSF award that MSCC has. So there's requirements in terms of metrics, outcomes, reporting, and all that kind of good NSF type of stuff. And we'll be working with those schools individually to make sure that their projects are moving ahead and making good progress. And we're going to be excited to see all these exciting things that they're going to come up with out of these projects. So if you see those folks around anywhere, congratulate them after your review on the website there. The one other thing I wanted to just kind of tease you a little bit with is we have the MSCC team has been working on a resource website with our partner FireAnt, who's a web development organization that's worked on our website quite a bit, and that's getting close to being public out there. There'll be some of the material that will be publicly accessible, and then some of it will be kind of lightly gated. The gating will just be that you need to be an MSCC participant. The reason I want to mention that is that we will be signing people up. So you'll probably see an email at some point saying you have an account on this resource website. And I just wanted to make you aware that you'll probably get that. I think we're up over 100 different resources already that have been lined up and will be available on that website. Another aspect of it is it's going to be a community-driven website, so you'll have the opportunity to put your own things on the website. So we'll, curate that content. It'll be focused around the efforts that, MSCC is involved with the schools in terms of cyber infrastructure, whether it's networking, cybersecurity, AI, those types of things, and it extends from things like policy templates, CI planning toolkits, different, tons of different resources, national resources in terms of HPC kind of things. So I'm really excited to see that kind of come into fruition, and I hope that you actively engage with it. As switching real quick back to the Research Catalyst program, if you have any questions, especially about future things or whatever, please email me. I'll drop my email address in the chat here, so that I can answer those questions and really reach out to me about anything you want to know about this program. Thanks, Jessica.
No problem, Al. Thank you. All right, so moving into our communities of practice, I'll touch on our CI Planning Community of Practice, which convenes every third Tuesday of the month from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time via Zoom. So you all should have those Zoom links, but happy to reshare those with anyone as well. Essentially, this community of practice is a space where we work to work through documents such as a CI planning document. Recent topics included data storage as well as CI funding opportunities as well. So just want to share about that. And I will pass the rest of the community of practice updates to my colleague, Jennifer Kim.
Good afternoon, everyone. So moving on to the cybersecurity community of practice. This is also a monthly community of practice that we host, which is also a community-driven sharing experience to support best practices and awareness of cybersecurity related to cyber infrastructure at HBCUs, TCUs, and other MSIs. The intended audience is for all sorts of different folks, higher ed leaders, IT staff, faculty, and others that are interested in cybersecurity for the institution. Some of our recent topics also around the AI, in addition to the AI policy, are around like cyber talent shortages, digital privacy, and we just started doing a threat intelligence briefing at the beginning of our sessions to keep us all abreast of things that are going on, and we do encourage crowdsourcing on that as well. So if you would like to participate more deeply in any of our communities of practice, definitely reach out to one of us and we can work with you on that. Next slide. And as we were talking about the AI policy that we did last month, we are going to now take all of the inputs that we've received from all of you, the community, in creating this AI policy to send back a document to you all for final input, so that we can have a finalized template that folks can use on their institutions when considering an AI policy. So definitely please join us next month on October 21st from 2 to 3:30. Please note that that is a longer time frame than usual. This will take place during the CI Planning Community of Practice time slot, and we are extending it given that we will have more folks and lots to go over. So we want to make sure we have ample time for participation.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. I also want to add for our CI Planning Community of Practice, we are looking for 2 co-chairs as well. So I want to add that anyone interested in the community who would like to support with that community of practice, definitely reach out to myself or Jennifer, and we'd love to have you. So with that, I will pass it back to Anna to close us out today.
Thank you, Jessica. And thank you, Al and Jennifer. And appreciate all that you shared. Just one more thing. We want to encourage any of you that would like to present at one of these meetings. We're seeking speakers and volunteers, and we would definitely like to showcase what are you working on relevant to the MSCC that might be also really helpful for many others in our community to know about. So if you would like to present, or you have ideas for topics or things that we could then line up for future programming, let us know. The QRB code is included here and also a link. And we're looking for speakers. The dates are a little bit out of date here. Obviously, we're not looking for summer speakers, but the form will be updated to reflect the lineup of these meetings for the rest of 2025 and into 2026. So please raise your hand if you're interested. If you don't want to fill out the form, just contact one of us and we can follow up with you. So these meetings become really meaningful also when we have the opportunity to bring the voices of our community in front of the rest of our community as well. So please consider either volunteering or providing us with your input on topics and things that you would like to see